Dr. Mary Anson is a co-founder and CEO of International Sickle Cell Center. Raymond Dokoro is a managing director, Creo Concept Limited. And they are here in the studio. I asked you, Helen, what do you know about sickle cell?
Oh my goodness, Johnny, you're putting me on the spot.
Sickle cell, what do you know?
I actually don't know too much about sickle cell. And so I'm excited that Doc is here to give us the much needed information. As soon as you alerted or averted our minds to it on the page, I went and did some digging, but I thought, no, this is for me still very mysterious. So Doc is here. Over to Doc, please.
See, Doc, what is sickle cell? Good morning.
Good morning.
Great.
And so sickle cell disease is an inherited blood disorder. Every human being has hemoglobin in their red blood cells.
Right.
And they inherit this hemoglobin gene, one from the mother and the other from the father. So those who have the AA genotype, it means they inherited hemoglobin A from the mom and hemoglobin A from the dad. I am AS genotype, so I got hemoglobin A from my mom and S from my dad because he's also AS. So those who have sickle cell disease, that's SS or SCO, these are the commonest types worldwide. They inherited one hemoglobin S from the mother and one hemoglobin A and one hemoglobin S also from the dad, and that's how they were born with sickle cell disease. Those who have SC, it means that one parent has the MC hemoglobin and the other parent has the S hemoglobin. These are all abnormal hemoglobins. The normal hemoglobin is hemoglobin A. Now, what sickle cell disease does is that the red blood cells are round and they are shaped like a donut, and they are able to flow very freely in blood vessels, be it small or big. So if it's a small blood vessels, they meander their way through the blood vessels. But for those who have sickle cell disease, when they get very cold or very hot or very stressed or they are not drinking enough water, they get dehydrated, the round red blood cells changes into the shape of a sickle. That's the farm tool. I don't know if you know the farm tool called a sickle. Yeah. Okay. So it's shaped like a banana or it's shaped like
you didn't used to follow your grandmother to the farm. It's the one called Fumu Helen. Hey.
I'm trying to imagine the shape,
at East Legon and Agbogba and all those places.
Let's move on.
Okay, don't go on.
So the shape is actually like a banana or a half moon. Okay, so when the red blood cells change into the shape of a banana, they stick to one another. When they stick to one another and the blood vessel is so tiny, because they are clogged to one another, they can't pass freely through the blood vessels. Now, what red blood cells do is that the hemoglobin carries oxygen so that the vital body tissues receive the necessary oxygen to thrive and work properly. So when this happens, oxygen supply is prevented. So the tissues respond to this lack of oxygen by saying, Ajay, I'm in pain, help, I'm in pain. And that's the pain crisis that people with sickle cell disease experience. So pain is the commonest complication. If this blockage is in the brain, it can lead to stroke. If it's in the eye, it can lead to blindness. If it's in the kidney, it can lead to kidney injury and eventually kidney failure. So whichever part of the body that's affected.
And it can travel anywhere
from head to toe. So that's sickle cell disease.
Ray, let's look at symptoms. I mean, can I see somebody and say, you have sickle cell? Ray.
You just cannot see someone and say the person has sickle cell disease. Although there are some things which will let you think about sickle cell disease. When you look at the eyes of someone who has sickle cell disease, sometimes, not always, their eye color turns yellow. And this is because the sickle red blood cells they become very fragile when they turn into the shape of a sickle. So they last for just 10 to 20 days. Those of us who do not have sickle cell disease, our red blood cells live for 120 days. When the red blood cells keeps breaking down, they release a substance called bilirubin. And it's this bilirubin that gives that yellowish discoloration of the eye. So for those who have sickle cell disease, I tell my patients, if you realize there is a change in your eye color or your urine color looks darker or deeper than
the
usual,
regular that
you need to go to the hospital and get checked, because it means that you are hemolyzing. Your red blood cells are breaking down, so you need to be checked. So aside the jaundice, but I need to say that it's not everyone who has a yellowish discoloration of eye who has sickle cell disease. There are other causes of jaundice in humans. Aside jaundice, anemia, which I mentioned, so they feel very weak and get tired easily, and some of them are tagged as lazy because maybe on a particular day their hemoglobin level is so low. Actually, a patient we were on the afternoon show yesterday, and a patient told me the campaign we are running, You Are Not Alone, really resonated with her because her hemoglobin level is 4.5. The You Are Not Alone campaign, and she felt like she wasn't alone. And this is someone who was anemic, so she needed blood transfusion. So anemia is another complication or a symptom of sickle cell disease.
Ray, what's your role in all of this?
Okay, so my name is Raymond Okoro, Managing Director of Creo Concepts. She approached us for us to work together on a campaign called You're Not Alone. And we were an animation studio, so we came together to produce 3D animation to tell a story, a true story actually, about a family going through, dealing with sickle cell anemia. And personally, it's been an honor, representing my company and being part of this awesome experience. Mary has been awesome. And we've learned so much about sickle cell anemia. We are an advertising company, but for us, this has been like a CSR responsibility whereby we want to show our creativity and help the cause.
Doc, let's come back to the treatments, if there are any at all, or managing sickle cell. First of all, can it be treated?
Yes.
Okay. Now guide us through the various options of treatment.
Okay, so first of all, I need to say that water is the cheapest treatment or medication for sickle cell. Yes.
This same water that you have.
This same water.
That people don't respect.
Yes.
It can help you to fight sickle cell.
Yes.
Okay. How does it do it?
What it does is that it allows your red blood cells to flow freely in the blood vessels. As soon as you get dehydrated, the red blood cells start to flow very sluggishly. When they flow sluggishly, the shape of the red blood cells change because they stick together. And then as it changes and sticks together, that's when you get the crisis. So we always advise that if you have sickle cell disease, for an adult, you need to take 3 to 4 liters of water. Especially if you are not well, then take 4 liters of water plus, but orally you need to drink it. And that's why when they have a pain crisis and they go to the hospital, IV fluids is put on them to give them some hydration. I need to say that the hydration shouldn't be overly done.
Overdo it.
Yeah, I lost a friend due to fluid overload. He had a sickle cell crisis and he was overly hydrated. So water is one thing. Then folic acid, which they all know. The folic acid helps build new red blood cells to replenish the ones which are breaking down and dying. And then sickle cell disease, they also have micro and macronutrient deficiencies. There are immune deficiencies, immune challenges as well. So we give them multivitamins to take and to help replace and replenish any low amount of vitamin D and other micro and macronutrients. Now, because their immune system is also reduced because of the condition, we recommend that they take a lot of fruits and vegetables because these things, aside having the micro and macronutrients, they strengthen their immune system to fight diseases. And then hydroxyurea, which
What's that?
Hydroxyurea.
Okay. What's that?
So it's a medication which previously was used to treat people living with cancer. Paracetamol is a drug that can be used for several conditions. So same as hydroxyurea, it's a specialized medication that can be used to treat cancer and also sickle cell disease. And this medication helps reduce the frequency of pain episodes among people with sickle cell disease by increasing a certain kind of hemoglobin called hemoglobin F. So this has more oxygen carrying capacity to send oxygen to the tissues of the body. And so hydroxyurea is given to them. But there have been challenges with access to hydroxyurea in Ghana. Though it's on the NHIS.
But it's not readily available when people want it. Or sometimes it comes and goes away.
There are shortages. And sometimes patients will have access to like half the quantity that they need. And they need to pay the rest out of pocket. In fact, sickle cell is really neglected. Let me be frank. A lot of their medications, their treatments, and things are largely out of pocket.
If you take 10 Ghanaians, how many would you say, per what you know from the consulting room, have sickle cell or possibility of
So 18,000 babies are born each year in Ghana with sickle cell disease.
18,000?
Yes.
Every year?
Every
with
year.
sickle cell?
Yes, but we don't know the
totality.
current prevalence of the number of Ghanaians who have sickle cell disease. But then we know that when you have, research says 1 in 3 West Africans have the AS trait, or they have at least an S gene. But I always say it's higher than that.
2 people are in love, but then their union is going to make their children susceptible to have this sickle cell disease. What would you say to them? They are madly in love. They have dated for 3 years. They have gone for counseling. They are ready to marry. But then they find out through the lab that Charlie and Kuye. What do they do?
Okay, so the first thing is that we advocate that people should get to know their sickle cell status at a very young age, especially if you are Ghanaian and you are living. Sickle cell is endemic in our parts of the world. So you need to know the genotype of your children. You, the adult, needs to know your sickle cell status. You need to go to a reliable and accredited lab. A lot of people think they are AA when their genotype is truly not AA. And for those who believe they are AA, their recommendation is that they should go in for HB electrophoresis and confirm this with a test called HPLC. Because
where can that be done?
It can be done at Lancet, it can be done at Metropolis. I know of these 2 places that they can do.
Vouch for.
Yes, that they can do the HPLC to get. It can also be done at SynLab actually, where they can get the
Can they
results.
do it at Kolebu?
No.
Or Ridge Hospital? Okay.
No, that's the neglect of sickle cell disease. Yes.
All right.
So they can not to the farthest of my knowledge, it can be done at those places. I know of these 3 private laboratories. So for those who are in love, there's something called genetic counseling. Now, when a couple comes to us and tells us that we are married or we are in love, we don't know what to do. Actually, this is one of the reasons why I started ISCC, because I found myself in the same situation and I couldn't get a professional to educate me, and everyone was saying whatever they knew about sickle cell disease, and it became a very traumatic and difficult experience for me. So we tell them about sickle cell disease, what it is and what it's not.
Okay.
Now, everyone experiences sickle cell disease differently. While some have terrible experiences and it literally changes their whole life and turns it upside down completely. And even me as a health professional and sickle cell advocate, when I hear it and they tell me some of the things, I ask myself, what did I just experience? Why am I hearing this? Why am I going through this? Because it's very heavy. And there are also those who don't go through those things. So we tell them the things. You just can't tell what your child would get.
What do you say to those who say that, people who are born with sickle cell, they don't live beyond a certain age, they die, they terminate at some point? Is that true?
Sickle cell disease is not a death sentence. Okay. What makes it a death sentence is the neglect of sickle cell disease and lack of access to the needed medical care.
What should family and friends do if they know that this family or relative has sickle cell?
So they should take their child or relative to a sickle cell clinic, have them enrolled in the clinic. The needed medication should be given, the labs should be done, they should go for regular reviews. They should be educated about sickle cell disease, because taking the medications is not magic. The medicine does not work as magic. Aside the medicine doing its work, you also need to do what you must do. Take your water, avoid cold weather, avoid mosquito bites and all of those things. Those are the things. So education is power.
Right.
Yeah.
Ray, how long did it take for you to do the animation?
Okay, so it's been a long time, to be honest. It took about 7 to 8 months.
Okay.
You know, we have a whole process that we go through, and we had to pick the right voice over actress. We had to pick the right team for the music, the background music, and we had to make sure everything was running smoothly. So give or take 7 to 8 months. But personally, what we've learned so much from the project, and there's a problem with awareness. You know, hearing you guys talk about this. Before I came on board, I knew about sickle cell, but I didn't know how prevalent it was, and I didn't know what people were actually going through. So to me, it's been a personal learning experience.
Where can we find this video?
Currently, it's on YouTube on the ISCC.
Okay, ISCC on YouTube. We can find that video and watch.
Yeah, if they type "You Are Not Alone," the story of sickle cell disease, they would find the animated video.
Okay. Okay. Now, we're wrapping up this conversation. What activities are not suitable for sickle cell people? And then what foods are not good for them?
Okay, so when it comes to activities, I love the rain.
You love the rain.
I love the rain, but we don't recommend someone with sickle cell disease dancing or walking in the rain. And then we also don't recommend them wearing short clothing and clothing that exposes their body when the weather is cold. When the weather is hot, they can dress whichever way that they want, because people think once you have sickle cell, you must always be covered. No. When the weather is hot, you can. Now, we don't recommend they swimming in unheated pools, because that can also lead to crisis. And you need to know your body, because I know a sickle cell patient that after she's scrubbed the bathroom and cooked, she would fall ill if she doesn't take a break in between. And I know another who can do all of that and more till the end of the day. If she does that the next day and still doesn't rest, she will fall sick. So you need to know your body. You need to
know how your body accommodates those kind of fatigue.
And what works for you. When it comes to food, like I said, they should eat nutritious meals. Carbonated drinks, sweetened drinks have very little nutritional value, and because they have the micro and macronutrient deficiencies, they must always be conscious about what they are putting into their body.
Smoking and alcohol?
No, because alcohol causes dehydration. And we spoke about dehydration, so it reduces the amount of water in your body, which gives your red blood cells opportunity to sickle, then you fall ill. And smoking, we all know the effects of smoking on the body, so it doesn't help at all.
Doc, I thank you very much indeed for your time. And how do we follow you? On social media, I see you have ISCC on YouTube already.
Yes.
So how do we follow through?
So it's ISCC Ghana on Instagram, ISCC Ghana on Facebook, International Sickle Cell Center on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Helen, you have a question?
And I have a number.
Okay.
0599 599 211.
0599 599 211.
And we are supporting 100 people this year with their medical care. If anyone wants to join us to support them,
they can call that number to join.
Yes, they are not alone. They can call the number.
Okay, Helen.
Yeah, I have to call the number. Yeah, the questions, some have been answered. I asked Ikema answer my blood type, but what she's saying, I think I need to head over to...
You need to go and check
Yes,
yourself.
the thing she's saying, O positive, but I don't think that's anything to do with...
No, O positive is totally different from
I have to tell her she's in the
genotype.
wrong number, but I have to go and check for myself.
Anyway, Dr. Mary Ansong is a co-founder and CEO of International Sickle Cell Center, and Raymond Okoro, Managing Director, Creo Concept Limited. Thank you very much for coming. We're grateful.
Thank you.
Let's use the last few seconds of the show to pick your calls.